Chapter 4 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. Too many things had happened today, so it wasn't until he was about to go to bed that Lin Chingyu realized that he had miscalculated. He forgot to ask someone to put up a bed in the study. He originally planned to sleep hunched over a table in the study, but Lu Wancheng actually had Hua Lu come and invite him to sleep in the room. Lin Chingyu came to the room, a calm expression on his face. Lu Wancheng had finished drinking his medicine and was about to go to bed. When he saw him, he smiled. "You're here." Lin Chingyu asked bluntly, "What do you mean by this?" Lu Wancheng didn't understand. "What do you mean? Didn't you say that we don't have to take this marriage seriously?" "That's right." "Then why do you want me to come back here to sleep?" Lu Wancheng understood and he said with a smile, "You misunderstood. I didn't ask you to come back here so that I could sleep with you." The simple and direct words made Lin Chingyu's face got hot. "Whatever the case may be, you're still the young master of a noble house. Can't you speak with a bit more dignity?" Lu Wancheng said, assuming a very dignified tone of voice. "I didn't ask you to come back here for me to sleep with you. After all, no matter how good looking you are still a man and I'm not a cut sleeve." Lin Chingyu took a deep breath and decided not to bicker with Lu Wancheng. "If you have got something to say, just say it." "I want some of your good fortune to rub off on me." Lu Wancheng looked pensive as he said, "I feel that when I'm with you, my body feels more relaxed." Lin Chingyu paused. "Are you serious?" Lu Wancheng nodded. "Very serious." The corners of Lin Chingyu's mouth moved slightly and he sneered out as stupid. "I didn't expect you to believe in these things too." He thought that Lu Wancheng was different from the other people in the Nananhao mansion. He had overestimated him. "Before, I believed it even less than you do, but now I believe it a little bit," Lu Wancheng said slowly. "Dr. Lin, do you believe that people have 3 immortal souls and 6 mortal souls, and that we transmigrate between life and death?" Lin Chingyu resolutely said, "I don't believe it." "Why?" "Because I have never seen it." "But I have seen it." "Then you must have been mistaken," Lu Wancheng said quietly. "Oh, I know no one believes that." Lin Chingyu furrowed his brows. "So you also believe the national teacher's nonsense?" If it hadn't been for the national teacher coming out with those 8 characters, the subsequent Chongshi would have never happened. Naturally, the national teacher's great name was also in the great list of grudges. "The national teacher?" Lu Wancheng muttered to himself. "You have reminded me that I should find the time to go meet with this national teacher of the Dayu who has access to the heavens and knows the ways of ghosts and gods." Lin Chingyu said bluntly, "You will need to be able to get out of bed first." Although the national teacher has never been tainted by political affairs, he nevertheless held a very distinguishable status, comparable to descendants of the imperial family. He was often called by the emperor to accompany him in the palace. If Lu Wancheng wanted to see him, he could only beg for an audience. Lu Wancheng returned to his senses and said, "Let's not talk about that for now. Dr. Lin, look at the Laohan bed that Hua Lu has prepared for you." "What Laohan?" Lin Chingyu only then noticed that the Laohan bed he had slept on last night was now covered with a thick mattress and quilt. It even had a soft pillow. It now looked no different from a small bed. Lin Qingyu momentarily lost control over his expression. He didn't know whether to praise or scold him. Lu Wancheng said generously, "While I don't mind sleeping with a man, I am afraid you would." When Lin Qingyu had left home to study, he traveled with his teacher and sometimes slept on the same bed with his fellow apprentices. It wasn't a big deal for two straight men to sleep together, but Lu Wancheng was still his husband in name. He simply couldn't interact with Lu Wancheng the same as he would with any other man. Straight, yeah, right. Let's see how long these two will say they are straight. Gosh, these idiots. Okay. In any case, sleeping on a Lao Han was more comfortable than sleeping over a desk. And this way, it will also save him the bother of Langshi kicking up a fuss if she discovers that they have been sleeping in separate rooms. Lin Qingyun took notice and said, I will go wash first." As the night got deeper, the lights in the Howe mansion went out one by one. Two newly married men, one sleeping on the bed, the other lying on the Lao Han, separated by a screen embroidered with a picture of mandarin ducks playing in the water. Lu Wanzheng had slept too much during the day and he wasn't very sleepy right now. He folded his hands behind his head and chatted with Lin Qingyu. "Dr. Lin, how old are you this year?" Lin Qingyu had his eyes closed. Not the least bit interested, he said, 18. "From a normal perspective, you're probably a few months older than me. How about I call you Yu Ge from now on?" Lin Qingyu asked, "Do you have a headache?" Lu Wancheng paused to see if he did. "No, it doesn't hurt." "And here I thought the sickness must have addled your brain and you forgot your own age." "Oh, how old am I?" Is this man stupid or just pretending to be stupid? For the sake of one's health, it wasn't advisable to go to sleep feeling irritated. Lin Qingyu lost his best to calm down. 19. What luck! Lu Wancheng smiled. "Then, can you call me Wancheng Gege instead?" Lin Qingyu turned over, leaning only the back of his head to Lu Wancheng. "Go to sleep, young Master Hao. In your dreams, you can have anything." Lu Wancheng laughed lowly. Suddenly puzzled, he thought aloud to himself. A bad-tempered beauty. Such a charming character design was unexpectedly not made into the protagonist. The night was deep and Lin Qingyu was exhausted both physically and mentally. He allowed himself to sink into a dream. The Dayu placed great importance on medicine. In addition to the Imperial Hospital and the Imperial Pharmacy within the palace, it also set up the Imperial Medical Office outside it to train and select medical talents. Similar to the Imperial Examination, the Imperial Medical Office would hold an examination every 3 years. Regardless of one's social status, no matter who one's teacher was, as long as they were able to pass the examination, they could enter the Imperial Medical Office. There, they could read the world's most remarkable books, be awarded the world's precious materials, work together with famous doctors from within and without the Dayu. Perhaps they would enter the palace or write a book or journey to other countries to study and do research. The Imperial Medical Office, the holy land of healers, how many people have broken their heads trying to get in? The assessment and selection were extremely strict. It was not an exaggeration to say that It was 1 in 10,000. Lin Chingyu was extraordinarily talented with incomparable skills. His teacher once asserted that he would pass the examination with a single take, but he still didn't dare to slack off and prepared for his exam for 3 whole years. It was finally the day of the exam. He and a few fellow students waited outside the examination venue. The young man was full of spirit. Having already prepared in advance, he was talking and laughing happily. In him, there wasn't the slightest bit of nervousness or apprehension seen in the others. The vermilion door of the examination venue slowly opened, and Lin Chingyu's eyes lit up. He walked up the stairs step by step, walking towards his ideal holy land. In a moment, he was about to touch that beam of light when a strange voice stopped him. It was a man in eunuch's robes. Lin Chingyu couldn't see his face clearly, only the bright yellow imperial decree he was holding in his hands. The imperial edict is here. Lin Chingyu, please accept the decree. Lin Chingyu knelt down and listened to the decree. The other candidates didn't seem at all to care about this sudden change, and one by one they walked into the examination venue, forming empty shadows behind Lin Chingyu. By the grace of the gods, the emperor bestows a wedding upon Lu Wancheng, son of Nanan Hao, of precious moral standing, of extraordinary appearance, and soon to reach weak crown, and the son of Lin Zhaoshang, Yampan of the Imperial Hospital, of commendable conduct and filial piety, and of dignified appearance. Choose an auspicious day for the wedding. The emperor himself so decrees. Lin Chingyu looked up in amazement. The bright yellow light was so blinding he could hardly open his eyes. The doors of the Imperial Medical Office slammed shut. Well, if you haven't realized it, that was dream of Lin Chingyu, of his dream of becoming an imperial doctor, but was stopped by this royal decree of stupidity. But yeah, it's a nightmare of sorts for the poor guy. Okay, getting back. Lin Chingyu abruptly woke up from his dream. In the silence, there was only the sound of him gasping for breath. His rapidly beating heart gradually calmed down, but the pent up frustration and unwillingness were like thick ink stones. They could not be dissipated nor dispelled from his heart. The dream and reality were not the same. In reality, the eunuch who passed the decree went directly to the Lin residence, after which his qualifications to take the exam were cancelled. Way before the day of the exam, he became the male wife of the Nanan Hao mansion. There was still an hour before dawn, but Lin Chingyu could no longer sleep. He got out of the bed and wanted to pour himself a cup of tea when he heard a deliberately muffled groan. It was Lu Wancheng's voice. Lin Chingyu lit a lamp and walked quickly to the bedside. Young Master Hao? Lu Wancheng curled up on the bed, his body slightly arched, his eyes tightly closed. His face was somewhat twisted, and his hair stuck to his face with cold sweat. Lin Chingyu called again. Lu Wancheng. Lu Wancheng opened his eyes, the expression in his eyes slack. Dr. Lin? It's me. Dr. Lin, I feel a little uncomfortable. Lin Chingyu felt Lu Wancheng's pulse and determined that he was the victim of heart palpitations. I know, Lin Chingyu said in rarely heard gentle tone of voice. It feels uncomfortable on your chest, doesn't it? Lu Wancheng nodded. Bear with it. I will be back soon. Lu Wancheng said feebly, are you going to get a knife? Oh gosh, this guy. Oh my gosh. I love Lu Wancheng. He's so. I like these kind of characters where they are kind of like, a little bit. You want to smack them in their faces, but they are so sweet. Yeah, that's Lu Wancheng. Okay. Lynching you could make neither head or tail of it. What would I do with a knife? Finish off a wounded combatant? Lynching Yu's tone returned to his usual indifference. I have no intention of killing people. But before the wedding, he really had entertained the idea of drugging Lu Wancheng with something that would render him impotent. If he hadn't been for Lu Wancheng's good performance on their wedding night, proposing first that he not to take the marriage seriously, Lu Wancheng might have already be halfway to becoming a eunuch. Poor guy, he was already sick, now he has to become a eunuch. Oh gosh. See, that's why you shouldn't wait. As soon as you wake up, you take actions. And if you guys haven't realized yet, Lu Wancheng is the isekai protagonist. Like he got transmigrated into the novel. So that's the story. Hopefully that's not much of a spoiler. But okay, taking or going back. Lin Chingye took out a medical medicinal box from his chest of clothes. Inside were a lot of his favorite creations, most of which were poisons. Of course, there were also some good medicines for healing and saving people. Lin Chingyu returned to his bedside with a porcelain bottle and an acupuncture bag in his hand. This is the gentian pill, which will relieve your palpitations. Would you like to take it? Lu Wancheng said, eat and live, I say. Lin Chingyu resisted the urge to turn around and leave. He held Lu Wancheng up and put the gentian pill into his mouth. Just in case, I will also pierce you with 2 needles. Lu Wancheng seemed to remember some kind of shadow from his childhood. He held his arm and tried to get up. You're going to run a needle into me? It's acupuncture. Oh, Lu Wancheng lay back down. Then please be gentle. Lynching you. No, I'm going to use force. Lu Wancheng. ... Lynching you deepened his breathing. Acupuncture was a meticulous job, and he needed to concentrate all his attention on it. Dr. Lin, am I going to die again already? Save my life if you can, but don't force it if you can't. Lu Wancheng sighed. I only slept for a few days and woke up naturally. Shut up. Sweat was sweeping in. Sorry, I couldn't stop laughing with this guy on how childish he behaves. But then again, he is a teenager, right? He's like 17 years old. But he's so dramatic. Okay. Sweat was seeping from Lin Chingyu's forehead. His eyes gleamed and he focused on the first needle. I won't let you die, at least not tonight. After taking medicine and receiving acupuncture, Lu Wancheng's symptoms were relieved and he soon fell back asleep. Lin Chingyu breathed a sigh of relief. He raised his eyes and looked out of the window. The sky was already tainted with the grey of dawn. The next day, the sun was already 3 poles high, but Lu Wancheng was still not awake. Hua Lu was innocently worried. She couldn't help from going over to check on his breathing. Lin Qingyu saw this and said, "If you're so free, go and sweep the yard." Hua Lu said, "Shaojun, young master has been sleeping for 12 hours. Is this really alright?" Lin Qingyu took no notice of it. Perhaps patients should sleep more. But before Hua Lu could breathe out a sigh of relief, he added, "But he really does sleep a lot. Does he lack sleep before? Or did he lack sleep before?" Hua Lu shook her head. "No, the young master's body is weak. He's usually laid up in the bed and he always sleeps whenever he feels sleepy." Gosh, this guy living the life ish, but sick and dying, so probably not living enough of the life. Okay, don't be jealous of Lu watching, guys, please. I know he's just, chilling, but he's also in pain. Lin Qingyu grew pensive upon hearing this. It wasn't until Wei Shi that Lu Wancheng slowly woke up. Lin Qingyu was called by him to his bedside and made to accept his thanks. "Dr. Lin, I was very fortunate to have you here last night. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even known how I died." Seeing that his complexion looked good, Lin Qingyu didn't bother to hold back his mouth. "Naturally, you would have died of illness. It is a great favor that I owe you, a favor that I wouldn't be able to possibly repay. I have decided. For you, I shall do one difficult and troublesome thing." Lin Qingyu was indifferent. "That won't be necessary. Just talk less before going to bed." "Huh?" Lu Wancheng smiled. "Are you saying I talk too much?" As the two were talking, Fengxian came in to report. "Young master, Shaojun, the second young lady is here." Fengxian's second young lady was Lu Wancheng's younger sister, whom Lin Qingyu had yet to see. Lu Wancheng muttered to himself as he pondered. "Second young lady, what is she here to do?" Lin Qingyu said, "Naturally, she is here to visit the sick. I won't bother you siblings." Lu Wancheng grabbed his sleeves and said, "Look how impatient you are. I didn't say I was going to see her." Fengxian was surprised. "Young master isn't going to see the second young lady? You have always had the best relationship. I think the second young lady even bought the knee pads she made herself. She must be here to give it to the young master. She already came here once yesterday. Only that when she found out that the young master was asleep, she went back first." Lin Qingyu had no affection for the people in the Nananhao mansion, but Lu Wancheng was not him. His sister has repeatedly come to visit him. As her brother, how could he possibly turn a blind eye to it? Lin Qingyu said, "If you don't see her this time, she will just come again next time. She's your sister. What are you hiding for?" "I'm not hiding. I just don't feel like pretending to like them. I don't want to bother feigning civility." Lu Wancheng thought for a while and said, "How about this? Fengxian, give her my reply. Tell her to treat me as dead." Saying so, Lu Wancheng turned around, leaving other people with the view of a lonely and stubborn back. Gosh, this guy, has, no, what do you call? Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the word. Damn. Okay, yeah. This guy has no chill. He's just like, "Treat me like dead. Just get the hell out of here." But as you can see, since he is a transmigrator, if he's hating the Nananhao mansion people, you can actually see that they are not probably that good of a people, Like they are probably sneaky and stuff. So I don't really, treating them with good intentions either. But yeah, look forward to the next chapter.